Good evening, everyone. I'm Tracy Welch, the Events Committee Chairperson for the South Coast LGBTQ Network. Thank you for joining us tonight. Today, November 20th, is Transgender Day of Remembrance. Transgender Day of Remembrance is an opportunity for communities to come together and remember transgender and gender nonconforming people who have been murdered, often very brutally, for challenging ideas about what it means to be male or female or something else. It is an opportunity not only to pause to remember those we have lost, but to help raise awareness about the persistent stigma and discrimination experienced by this community and to help do something about it. The network had been contacted by the South Coast LGBT community members and the press about the pardon of New Bedford, Massachusetts native U.S. Marine Scott Pemberton. Pemberton was convicted of homicide for the death of Filipino trans woman Jennifer Lauder. The death occurred October 11th, 2014. Excuse me. The death occurred October 11th, 2014 in Olongapo, Philippines. Their trial court found Pemberton guilty of homicide, citing mitigating circumstances, including Lauder not revealing her gender identity. The court ruled that Pemberton, in the heat of passion, arm-locked the deceased and dunked her head in the toilet. Pemberton was sentenced to 10 years in jail. He was pardoned after only serving 6 years. Listening to the safety concerns for the transgender community, we took action. We met with the New Bedford Police Chief, Joseph Cordero. We discussed safety concerns of Pemberton's release, an incident that occurred with a police officer misgendering a trans male of our community, asked what specific LGBTQ+ trainings they offer officers, and reviewed the comments of hatred from many South Coast residents to an official statement the network released to social media regarding Pemberton's release. Chief Cordero was welcoming and listening to the safety concerns we presented. He is working with Eileen Dewars, our network coordinator for LGBTQ specific trainings for his officers. It was a well-received meeting. Our network is hosting this Transgender Day of Remembrance to honor the memory of those whose lives have been lost and acts of anti-transgender violence. A day to memorialize those who have been murdered because of transphobia. Please welcome our host for this evening, Taylor K. Corbett, Artistic Director at the Glasshorse Project.
Good evening. Sadly, in 2020, the United States has already seen at least 37 transgender or gender nonconforming people fatally shot or killed by other violent means, the majority of which were Black and Latinx transgender women. We say at least because too often these stories go unreported or misreported. These victims, like all of us, are loving partners, parents, family, friends, and community members. They worked, went to school, and attended houses of worship. They were real people, people who did not deserve to have their lives taken from them. We mourn those that we've lost in 2020. Dustin Parker, age 25. Nulisa Lucino Ruiz. Yampi Mendez, 19. Monica Diamond, 34. Lexi, 33. Joanna Metzger, Serena Angelique Velasquez Ramos, 32 years old, and Layla Peliz, 21 years old. Penelope Diaz Ramirez, 31 years old. Nina Pop, 28 years old. Hele J. O'Regan, 20 years old. Tony McDade, Dominique Remay Fells, Rhea Milton, 25 years old. Jane Thompson, 33 years old. Selena Reyes Hernandez, 37. Brian Egypt Powers, 43. Brayla Stone, only 17 years old. Felicia Harris, 33 years old. Erin Burnett, 37 years old. Aja Raquel Roan Spears, 33 years old. Angel Unique, 25 years old. Bree Black, 27 years old. Brooklyn Deshuna, 20 years old. Key Sum, 24 years old. Marilyn Cazares, 22 years old. Mercy Mack, 22. Mia Green, 29 years old. Michelle Vargas, 33 years old. Keisha D. Hardy, 22. Sarah Blackwood, 29. Shaki Peters. Summer Taylor, 24. Leah Rayson Day, 28 years old. Scott or Scotland DeVar, 51 years old. And Uniska Carey Hera. In the center of our memorial is Jennifer Lauder, a trans woman who was killed in the Philippines by Scott Pemberton, a United States Marine from New Bedford, Massachusetts. Now, please welcome Alex West, staff attorney at South Coast Fair Housing, to talk about their programs and legal resources available.
Hi, thank you to Tracy and to the South Coast LGBTQ Network for having me today. I'm Alex West. I'm an attorney at South Coast Fair Housing. We are right up Union Street, just a couple blocks, when we're in the office and not at home due to COVID. So South Coast Fair Housing is a nonprofit. We practice fair housing work. So that means that we provide fair housing education, outreach, advocacy, and enforcement services to eliminate housing discrimination and to ensure equal access to housing. We, South Coast Fair Housing serves all of Rhode Island and Bristol and Plymouth counties in Massachusetts. We provide free help if you've lost a housing opportunity because of your protected class. And so a protected class is something like race, religion, national origin, disability, source of income, like if you have a Section 8 voucher, gender identity, or sexual orientation. And this could be your actual gender identity or sexual orientation, or what someone else perceives to be your gender identity or sexual orientation. So we can help if you've experienced harassment in your housing, been denied equal services in your housing, or been asked to leave your housing due to one of those same protected classes. We also help people with disabilities who need assistance obtaining reasonable accommodations or modifications in your housing. So like change to make your living space more accessible for you. We know trans and gender nonconforming folks face a lot of challenges in finding and keeping safe and affordable housing. So please reach out. Even if you think you're not sure if you've been discriminated against, we will do our best to help. We can do an investigation and see if there was discrimination. I know as a trans person myself, it can be really daunting applying for housing. When your ID doesn't match or you're nervous, like, did I say something wrong? Did I not get this housing because of my gender identity? So please reach out and we can try to see if that's what happened. I also want to mention that it's similarly illegal in Massachusetts to discriminate in employment based on sexual orientation and gender identity. Whether you work somewhere that's public or private, with few exceptions, you cannot be fired or treated differently based on your gender identity or sexual orientation. So this is really the same as housing. It can be your actual or perceived gender identity or sexual orientation. And you can file a complaint with the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination. And I'm going to wear a second hat today and talk to you about another program in New Bedford, South Coastal County's Legal Services, also just a couple blocks away, specifically their CLAVIC program. That's free civil legal aid to victims of crime. One of the things that this day recognizes is that violence against the trans community is prevalent. We know that in recent years, there's been an increase in violence really perpetrated against our community. And equally troubling is that it's not always addressed. These problems aren't always addressed by the legal system. But more importantly, the criminal justice system is not intended to address the specific legal needs of survivors, right? But the other thing that we recognize is the strength and resilience of our community. So sometimes folks in our community experience unique safety concerns. These could be around a specific individual. This could be around like your home, your place of work, being safe at school, and of course, being safe in the community at large. So there may also be separate concerns around being able to pay rent or otherwise keep you in housing. Sometimes extra supports or accommodations are needed in school or the workplace, and there may be other family law issues. So whatever the legal issue is, the goal in the work we do with survivors is to address the client's needs holistically and in an empowering way. So if you are interested in contacting South Coastal County's Legal Services, you can call 774-488-5958. And I believe the website of South Coastal Counties is also being displayed. And if you are facing housing discrimination, so again, if you want to contact South Coast Fair Housing, that's 774-473-9994. And we're also at southcoastfairhousing.org. So thank you very much to everyone for being here. And please help us in helping you exercise your rights.
It's tricky getting around everything. That's all good. Gotcha. Yeah, right.
As long as it's dry, really.
It's perfect. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Good, thank you. Please welcome Brian Costa, family nurse practitioner for family medicine at Greater New Bedford Healthcare, to talk about resources for transgender people located right here in the South Coast.
Hello, my name is Brian Costa. I'm a family nurse practitioner through the Greater New Bedford Community Health Center. I am also a lifelong citizen of New Bedford, as well as a member of the LGBTQ+ network. Tracy and I have worked really hard with our group of individuals to put this on, considering what's been happening with the current administration. And I felt that, especially with the recent sabotage to our community that the president from the Philippines decided to take upon himself and pardon Scott Pemberton. I felt it was important within this past 1 to 2 years to provide transgender healthcare here in New Bedford, as I found that the need was so present that everyone had to drive longer distances, and I felt that why shouldn't primary care providers be able to provide these types of services? I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm having a mess here, excuse me. So, I wanted to discuss a couple of statistics. In regards to transgender healthcare, as well as just transgender, we talk about the U.S. Transgender Survey, which occurred in 2015, which asked 30,000 participants who sent in responses. What this found was that 1 in 10 of those individuals reported violence from their family members when they came out. 8% were kicked out. 17% dropped out of high school. 30% were fired from their jobs and did not receive promotions. 46% report verbal harassment. 9% report physical harassment. 40% of these individuals attempted suicide in their entire lifetime. Reading that, as well as hearing that, frightened me, because we need to do more. We need to do more for our communities. And I felt it was important to take it upon myself as well as discuss with our group the importance of transgender care. And I have been teaching a lot of the other primary cares within the health center about transgender care, making sure that people feel safe. Why is it important? Of course, because, well, 33% of those people had a negative experience with their healthcare provider. 23% felt that because of fear, they did not see a doctor. 33% were not able to find a doctor. Gender affirmation is not just a physical thing. It's social, psychological, medical, and legal. So it's important to have a group of people who help. And it's wonderful to know that Alex is here right in the city as well. So this way we can communicate. But what do I provide at the health center? At the health center, we provide, every person that comes into the health center is seen regardless of insurance status. We do not turn people away. We make sure that we, if you don't have insurance, we pay 3 to 4% of that, and we do a sliding scale. We make sure that that day that you get into the health center, that we help with your Mass Health application or application to help you get insurance. You are seen that day. Also, again, my name is Brian Costa, so when you call over to the health center, to the Greater New Bedford Health Center, make sure that you ask for my office. We provide hormone therapy, hormone treatment. I work closely and collaboratively with Fenway Health. I also work with surgeons, and I refer for top and bottom surgery as well. So I wanted to thank you all so much for being here and I was going to say celebration, but it's not. It's a commemoration. Thank you so much. I feel that this is the amount of individuals that are on these steps today in 1 year is an absolute atrocity to our nation. If we are so forward thinking, then why is this happening? I also think it's important to bring up Jennifer Lauder again and the fact that this occurred so close to home. This happens because people are afraid, people don't understand. And I think that we need to have awareness, and we need to demonstrate that this is not going to go away. We are not going to go away, and we need to make sure our voices are heard. So I want to thank you all so much for your time and your patience. I appreciate all of you. And please, again, you can find me at the Greater New Bedford Community Health Center. The number there is 508-992-6553. And if you see me out and about, don't be afraid to shout out. Thank you. Who?
Freestyle rap. Nikolai Costa, freestyle rap.
And the next person that's coming up is Nikolai Costa with a freestyle rap.
You can, if you're gonna move around, you can stick this in your pocket. Actually, start it right over your head, just like regular headphones. Nice. Nice.
Hold it. Not set up yet. Rush it. My pain and misery is all you're going to hear from me. A trans man making history. I'm taking a stand and making demands to be treated equally and not less than. All the Satan fearmonger that is among us has gotten me fuming when I just want to be treated as human. I don't know what's wrong with all of y'all trying to creep and peek down someone's bathroom stall. But y'all all hung up on Donald Trump, believing his lies like a Trump. So kick back while I spit facts. All paranoid because y'all think hormones is a steroid. Since when does estrogen help a trans youth cheat to win? Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Brandon. You were only 21. A short life taken by a knife and a gun. And you were done wrong too, Evan. You were only 22 when you were taken too. 7 years since you've been missing, and nothing done by the justice system. There'll be days where the skies are gray, gone too soon but never forgotten is what they say. Now in San Francisco, there's no sun. Now you're the ones who's rotten to the core. Is this how parents are supposed to treat their young ones? And when you don't care for your child anymore? And the justice system is so flawed that they let the dude off who murdered Jennifer Lauder. We're humans too. Did that ever occur to you? Cut us and watch us bleed. Put our hearts on stereo and hear our hearts beat. To all the trans women of color, rest in peace.
Great job.
Thank you to our speakers and our performer. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Tracy and the network for including me in this. As a trans woman myself, what has happened over the past year is something that we walk out of the house every single day with. That weight is resting on every single trans person's shoulders. And it's really important that this gets out there and people know about it. And please welcome Tracy back.
I don't know if I have it or not. Oh, there goes my speech. It's going away. Oh, welcome back, everybody. So, a few things happened in New Bedford in the last 15 years. So it's not just like hate is just new. 4 years ago, right on these library stairs, our youth group, NB Agley, A Perfect Place, was asked to come down, and one of our youth spoke in that event. No hate in our city, and it is here. This February will mark the 15th anniversary of the Puzzles attack. An 18-year-old New Bedford youth went into our local gay bar and tried to kill the patrons in the bar. The first transgender murder in 2018 happened in Massachusetts. So I'm going to use this statement from a really great friend of mine. It couldn't happen to me. And it does happen to us. It happens to everybody in our community. So I wanted to kind of end this with some good news, right? So today was the first time ever that the trans flag was raised in New Bedford, Mass. City Hall in the parking garage is lit up with lights of pink and blue. Next year, we hope to have more people, a bigger community involvement, but with COVID, you don't see that I have a mask on. Everybody behind us, behind the scenes does. We've been wiping microphones down. Guys, their hatred is here, but there's so much peace that's coming forward. I wanted to let you guys know that we received an official proclamation today for this Transgender Day of Remembrance. Whereas the Transgender Day of Remembrance was founded in 1999 to honor the memory of Rita Hester, a transgender woman who was killed in Massachusetts, see that one, in 1998. The day memorialized all the transgender people lost to violence since Rita Hester's death and began an important annual tradition that honors the memory of all those whose lives were lost in acts of anti-transgender violence throughout the year. Whereas 30 to 50% of transgender people experience intimate partner violence at some point in their lives, compared to 28 to 33% of the general population. Whereas sexual orientation and gender expression discrimination are among the most common forms of discrimination faced by the LGBTQ plus youth of color. 43.8% of lesbian women and 61.1% of bisexual women have experienced rape, physical violence, and/or stalking by an intimate partner at some point in their life, as opposed to 35% of heterosexual women. 26% of gay men and 37.3% of bisexual men have experienced rape, physical violence, and/or stalking by an intimate partner in their lifetime, as compared to 29% of heterosexual men. Whereas more than 20% of reported hate crimes are perpetrated on the basis of the victim's real or perceived sexual orientation or gender identification. Whereas in 2014, 2/3 of LGBTQ plus victims of hate-based homicides were transgender, despite transgender people accounting for small numeric share of the entire LGBTQ plus population. Whereas the efforts of transgender discrimination are multiple and profound, from education to employment, from housing to healthcare, from physical safety to mental health. Discrimination can touch every facet of a transgender person's life. Now, therefore, in memory of all the transgender individuals who were victims of homicide in 2020 and in previous years, I, Mayor John Mitchell, as Mayor of the City of New Bedford, do hereby proclaim the 20th day of November as a Transgender Day of Remembrance in New Bedford, and affirm the city's commitment to ending violence and discrimination in our community. Given this day, 20th day, November 2020, signed by John Mitchell, Mayor. I wanted to, thank you. Yeah, sorry, I got it. Some of you guys know I cry. This one message I send out quite a bit to our youth group. I send out to the Mass Rhode Island gay pages, you name it, I send it out. This one I want to end with, the wait message being sold to trans people. 5 years old. Wait till you're older before you transition. The kids will be mean to you. 12 years old. Wait till high school before you transition. The kids in high school will be more accepting of you. 16 years old. Wait till you finish high school. Your marks are more important. 18 years old. Wait till you've left the house. Your father will kill you. 20 years old. Wait till you've got the job before you transition. You'll risk getting employed now. 25 years old. Wait till you found a safer job. The people are dangerous. 30 years old. Why are you only transitioning now? If you're really trans, you would have known when you were younger. I'm not suddenly realizing I'm trans. I'm just tired of being told to wait for some imaginary time when it might be safe for me to exist as I am. Regards, Charles Landberg. Thank you everybody so much for coming, and we appreciate your time. We'll be doing this again next year, and hopefully longer. We'll have more people be able to kind of see what's going on, and these faces. When we started this endeavor, there was 33 trans deaths and non-binary deaths in the United States. We were able to get the 34th printed in time for today. 3 more people were murdered in the last week since we sent this to press in the United States. Over 350,000 transgender, non-conforming people have been murdered in the world. So thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in. And please share this post. We want to get this message out to everybody and make sure our trans community is safe. Thank you very much. Get my tissue.